Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I have an idea, and certainly, like you say, Robert, try to have a positive outlook to it. But
What's your opinion with the advent of blockchain? Because I see that blockchain might be one of the ways to actually help the encryption process here to create security for things.
well, NIST.
Do you have a viewpoint
Yeah,
on it?
so NIST, I think it was last year or a couple of years ago, I think it was during the pandemic actually, is now requiring all companies to upgrade their security to be quantum resistant. And so all the protocols now they have to reduce further the attack surface space of all of their tech, all of their code. And which really just means, larger passwords. Well, I don't know really what it means, but it's, it is. It's already begun. The world is already preparing for quantum. And it can't, this other company that I'm a director of, Queros and ClearNet, the objective there was to build a blockchain system that had an extremely low attack surface that could not be
Cracked?
Yeah, it can't be cracked. The attack surface is relatively small.
Limiting vulnerabilities.
Yes, absolutely. And that was based on the DAG model, which is a distributed acyclic graph. And it's a different kind of blockchain. It doesn't work on a standard. The standard blockchain model is you're distributing the data across many different nodes. You're cracking up this data and distributing it off over many different nodes. And the thought is, and again, I'm not a security expert, the CISO of the company is pretty good, and I think they've worked on those details. And I think you met him. I think you met Richard. He's the CISO of the company. But anyway, I think this security aspect of it is going to be front and center. I don't know what the landscape looks like on that because I just don't know the power of quantum computing and some of the things that involve security. It's just not my field of expertise.
Do you think that quantum will be a little bit like even bigger than the revolution we had with the personal laptops and .com biz in the 1990s? I mean, do you see this as being potentially one of the big technology leaps forward in terms of enterprise too?
Yes.
And business?
Yeah, assuming that governments allow it to exist in the private sector, absolutely yes. Yeah. I mean, we've been on the upswing of the technological curve for a very long time. Mm-hmm. My opinion is we are about to take a huge leap forward, and that's going to make a lot of governments and societies feel a little unstable for a bit until very nervous until we see what that looks like and we know how to manage it, know what it'll produce, or how it can hurt us. It'll have to be de-risked over time. But yeah, we're talking about new things on the technology front, the life expectancy front, the quality of life front.
Yeah.
I think that could be dramatic.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's just so much. And then by then, who knows where AI is going to be? And as Robert likes to say, quantum. I think, 2 years from now, it's going to be a dramatically different world, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping for the best. There's some talk of the upheaval of AI and robots or whatever, taking people's jobs. I don't think it's going to be like that. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I hope I'm not wrong. But I think that you're still going to need human ingenuity and creativity. But think about it. When the calculator first came out, the pocket calculator, we started using it. We got off the slide rule and we went to the calculator and everything was fine. Then we switched to the PC and that was fine. And this to me is, unless we create a singularity, in Skynet, like Terminator type thing, I think this is going to be another tool that we use to help humanity advance.
It seems to be the consensus. The Risk Reward Show is a weekly podcast covering current events in worldwide business. Headquartered in Los Angeles and Tel Aviv with partners in Chicago, New York, London, Shanghai, Mumbai, and Cape Town, we source opinions and news directly from where they're happening, then pass them along to you. Look for us wherever you get your podcast fix.
Okay, guys, let's switch subjects now a little bit. Let's get into a couple quick things here. Barry, I want to know what you think about the so-called Bitcoin strategic reserve that was just set up. Is it a lot of hype, nonsense? I still personally don't think Bitcoin has any intrinsic value that anyone can prove to me.
Well, I mean, I come from the traditional financial side, and I looked at crypto is nothing more than a money laundering index. Like if there's interest in it, you've got, neophyte kids that are the natives, the crypto natives that love it and hype it and whatever. And then you've got people that want to move money around outside of the normal system. That's the way I looked at it from a traditional financial standpoint. So I took a very conservative approach.
I hear a but coming.
Yeah, but exactly. I would say that I'm slowly being won over. I mean, I'm this, like I said before, I'm the CEO of a brokerage firm that's owned by one of the largest crypto brokerage firms on the planet. And I can tell you that business is good, and getting bigger. So there's a lot of real institutional interest in the space. And it's interesting because it seems to be the single thing that's driving us towards T0 settlement, which relieves us from Herstat risk. And Herstat risk is the principal settlement risk associated with...
You're going to have to define that for...
Yeah, T0 what now?
So most currencies and financial instruments settle over a period of time. If I buy yen from a bank, I give them dollars and I take the yen. It takes 2 days to get it. And it takes a day for me to get them the dollars. So I can get that in the system. It leaves my account. But, I send that out. They've got my dollars. It's in transit. But I'm waiting for a day to get that yen, 2 days to get that yen back. And so that's principal exposure, right? Because if that bank fails or they don't send the wire, I'm out however much that is. And so that principal settlement risk it's referred to as Herstat risk, the failure of the Herstat bank decades ago. It lives inside the financial ecosystem, and it's inconvenient, and it's also a risk that you have to calculate into all of the pricing when you're de-risking and determining, what the full transaction cost is going to be. Or what relations that you're willing to develop, and clients and counterparts you're willing to have. The one thing that crypto has done is it's moved everything into same-day settlement. And that's the target. Like the DTCC, for example, which is the Clearing Corporation, and other institutions, even SWIFT, for example, they're working towards how do we get to T0? T0 means today, no days.
Yeah, got it.
This is because, Scott, Swift and other people saw this happening and they realized, oh my God, suddenly we have competition where we could actually lose business.
That's exactly
to
right.
this stuff.
So there's a competition. That's a great way to put it, Robert. There's a competition and a race towards T0, which is same-day immediate settlement of all products around the world. So crypto has been a big contributor to that process because it can be used now. Like USDT, that can be used now to settle immediately. And so there's rails are being put in place. The top tier banks they're still very standoffish from crypto, mainly because they don't have the talent pool yet to understand what it is fully or how to manage it, because it does have some bad actors involved in crypto. And there's two things. For crypto to really succeed, it needs to be accepted by these larger financial institutions, and they're working towards it.
Do you think that this is going to be part of the reason why people are looking at the central bank digital currencies?
CBDCs?
Such as Europe, Australia. We know it's being rumored from these places.
Yeah, CBDCs may be a harder sell, particularly in like the United States, for example, because while they would be incredibly efficient, the problem with CBDCs from a user standpoint is it gives the government a little too much power over your life. That's the perception.
But and it's probably correct.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want people to stop you from buying a second pack of cigarettes in a day? Do you want people to stop you buying a bottle of scotch on a Saturday because it offends somebody? Little kids. I mean, how do little kids buy things?
The truth is that they can track everything you do now. Your bank patterns, all of that information is available to
True enough.
anyone, to law enforcement, government, anyone.
And everybody's using a credit card for everything now, or your phone and going zap.
I'm absolutely cashless all the time. So, and it's just inconvenient. But there are some who state that the government could put confines on individuals, groups, companies, penalize them, control them with a digital currency. I don't know if that's the case. We've seen companies, particularly under the Biden administration, be debanked because they didn't agree with the political points of view of that particular administration.
It happened in Canada.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Canada. Trudeau with the truckers basically wanting to get back to work during the coronavirus
Yep.
epidemic, basically started debanking some of the individuals that were participating in the demonstrations up
I
there.
remember that.
So you don't even need digital currencies to control people or hurt them. Governments are already doing that or have already done it. So that's not new, but it would certainly give them more tools to control. I think that's, to the extent that we can, we need to stay away from creating or supporting systems of control. I think that's counterproductive.